You ever have one of those games that you just can't get out of your head? One of those games that just keeps popping up even years after you've played it? Personally, I have several, and I bet if you've been playing games for a while, you probably do too. And you probably also wonder, does anyone else even remember this game? Does anyone else think about it as much as I do? And why not? For me, one of those games is Tokyo Jungle, a game I played back when it came out in 2012 that subsequently seared itself into my memory in a way few things do. This is exceptionally surprising because I really haven't played it since then. It was just such a singularly unique experience, a game whose theme and vision was so weirdly perfect, I got sucked into its pull like a black hole. I'll be honest, it's not an incredible feat of innovative game design that created a genre or redefined the industry going forward. Rather, I think it stands out because it's a game that probably shouldn't exist. An idea that most people would watch be born before them and then die after uttering the words, "Wouldn't that be insane? Someone should make that." Well, in this case, someone did make that, and I'm going back to play some more of it to see if it holds up to my memory, and I'm here to drag you along with me. So, whether carnivore or herbivore, grab a snack or just a seat, and come with me as we explore Tokyo Jungle. So if you haven't played before, here's a rundown. It's the post-apocalypse, humans are all dead for mysterious reasons, everything is run down and overgrown, and best of all, animals have inherited the earth. From household pets to zoo animals, they're all that's left, and they're here in Tokyo. The name of the game here is survival. That really is your one core objective. Survive as long as you can. And the best way to do that is not get killed. Write that down if you have to because it's pretty important. Don't die. Luckily for us, there are a lot of ways to not die. First option is hiding, and would you look at that, it's every video game character's best friend, tall grass. Just like real life, this stuff renders you virtually invisible. So if you're being hunted, just dive right in and sit still. But be aware you also stink. So if you dive in too close, a predator can sniff you out. Just be smart about it and you'll get out fine. Ideally, you'll avoid being hunted and instead use the grass to stalk your prey and line up a perfect strike to take them down in a single attack. Of course, that's only if you're playing a carnivore. If you're playing as an herbivore, you'll most likely be solid snaking your way around as much as possible to get some tasty roughage. And you might be wondering, hang on a second, aren't you already hiding in tasty roughage? And to that I say, what the hell, man? You're gonna eat your best friend? That's your best friend we're talking about here. What's wrong with you? No, we're gonna have to go after the other vegetables that aren't our friends, okay? Okay. If you aren't blessed to eat your veggies, you're gonna have to kill to consume. And if you're like me, you're gonna feel bad about it sometimes. But that's just like the brutality of nature, man. In order for one thing to live, something else must die. Oddly enough, the game really puts you into that mindset early on. These poor chicks have barely gotten a chance at life, but that hunger meter isn't gonna fill itself. I really do feel bad killing off a lot of these defenseless animals, but dogs gotta eat, you know? All that eating is in service of keeping your constantly draining hunger meter from reaching zero. If it does, you start losing health. And if that reaches zero, your run is over. And this is a run-based game, by the way, mostly. There is a story mode that you need to find memory discs to unlock new acts in, but the real meat of the game lies in the appropriately named survival mode. So now that you've got your belly full and you haven't quite yet been ripped apart by something bigger and stronger than you, what are you supposed to do? Well, one thing you may have noticed at the top of your screen is a constantly scrolling year meter. This represents the relentless march of time that promises to undo us all. And no, cute Pomeranians are not spared from its ravages. Once your animal avatar hits 14, it's officially old and will have reduced stats. And if you eventually reach age 20, your hunger meter won't fill anymore no matter what you do, and you will eventually die. Your only choice before that happens is to reproduce and create a new generation of hungry spawn to continue the struggle. To do that, first you have to claim a territory. You do this like everyone else does, peeing all over the place. The map is broken up into different territories, and in these territories there are a handful of mark points. You'll have to make your way to each of these flags on the map and mark your territory. Once you've marked them all, you can claim that territory and a few potential mates will pop up. Some are better than others. You can pick out the best ones by the hearts over their head. The ones with big pink hearts are your best options, and the ones with hollow black hearts are desperate for attention and most likely disease-ridden. They'll give you fleas, and unfortunately you'll have fewer children as well. You'll want to stay away from them unless you really don't have much choice, but hey, it's the post-apocalypse. Sometimes you gotta take what you can get. But don't assume the best mates are gonna be interested in you just because you're the protagonist. You gotta prove yourself first by reaching a higher rank. You do this by consuming calories. The more calories you've eaten, the higher rank you are, eventually reaching boss rank. And the higher rank you are, the better mates you have access to. Once you've attracted a mate, you gotta take them back to your sick pad. In this case, it's a shoddy pile of hay above the train tracks, but hey, she doesn't seem to mind. And now that you've lured her in with your hefty, calorie-filled body, it's time to enjoy a little R&R. And oh, look at that. No longer are you that old dog, but rather now a bunch of little yous with some stat bonuses from previous life to boot. And so the circle of life continues. Like most newborns, you're gonna suck for a little bit, but you'll get back up to speed quickly. Alright, so we've got eating and breeding down. Now what exactly? Well, should you come across a predator you can't take down easily, you're gonna have to come to grips with how to fight. The game has a fairly simple action combat system. You have a basic attack you can use with R1. This can open up enemies to a lunge attack, noted by the teeth icon. When it's solid, you can do a lunge attack. This is also what you want to look for if you're doing a clean kill attack on an unaware enemy. Something you always want to go for if you can get it. Defense-wise, you have a dodge you can do by flicking the right stick in a direction. Time this well and you can open up your enemy to a follow-up lunge attack. Like I said, it's a pretty simple combat system that revolves around good timing. Like any other action game, you can get pretty good at it and likely take down enemies much larger than you that you have no business of fighting. But if you're like me, you're probably going to get yourself killed, so do yourself a favor and just avoid the crocodile that you see in the sewers. Don't try to fight it. So yeah, that's pretty much the core loop of the game. Run around looking for food, marking territory as you go, eventually breeding before you get too old, and then starting the cycle all over again. It's not terribly complicated, so luckily the game gives you some objectives to focus on. The game calls these challenges, and completing them gives you rewards. Mostly these are stat bonuses, but you can also unlock cosmetics that also give stat bonuses themselves. Yes, you can and will want to dress up your animals. Personally, I like to focus on completing the challenge that unlocks the next animal to play as. That's likely going to be most people's goal when doing a run, since it's the most fun, gameplay impactful unlock you're going to get. It's also very accessible, offering a decent challenge and helping guide your run beyond just surviving as long as you can. Each animal has one challenge that unlocks the next one. Unlocking them all would take quite a while, but it's a good long-term goal for player to work towards. And there are some real surprising animals in here, from your basic Pomeranian deer all the way up to dinosaurs. Yes, dinosaurs. You can go even further and try to complete all the challenges for a given animal, but I'll say that in order to do that, you have to genuinely get good. The challenges are all time limited, meaning you have a certain span of years to get them done. And the timing on these can be really tight, requiring you to traverse across the entire map and changing generations multiple times. You really have to go in with a plan and play with efficiency in mind if you want to complete them all. If you're not really good at the game, you should expect to fail, and if you do, you'll have to start a new run to try again. Anyway, that about covers the basics. There's of course a few more advanced concerns. There are weather events you'll have to watch out for that affect your ability to see information on the minimap and cause your toxicity gauge to go up. This is a meter you have to manage by consuming clean food and water, and one you can increase by doing the opposite. There are also collectibles and items to find around the map. Some of these items are things like the aforementioned clothing and stuff like beef jerky that you can use to sustain your hunger bar during trying times. You also get items that unlock data entries and more chapters in the story. The story mode is neat, but you will need to play quite a lot of survival mode to unlock it all. Both the story mode and logs you pick up range from flavorful fun to revealing more insights as to what happened to the world. Why are animals all that's left? What happened to the humans? To find that out, you'll have to unlock all this stuff. Or go look up some spoilers. I don't know, that's like up to you. Now that you have a good understanding of the game, let's go over my mostly successful Pomeranian run, and hopefully all the stuff I talked about will start to come together. Alright, so here we find ourselves, a cute little Pomeranian all alone in the middle of Shibuya. What's the first thing we do? Hunt. No longer are we a coddled household pet, now we are a predator, and this poor chicken is our first kill of many. Our first course of action is to eat and take over this part of Shibuya by marking each spot. That's going to take a few minutes, so while past me gets busy doing that, let me explain the goal with this run. Like I said, the challenges are your trail markers. They're what guide you through the jungle and to your destination. You can make your own self-imposed challenges if you want, but early on, and for me in this run, I want to do that challenge that unlocks the next animal. The elusive and, in my opinion, superior cat. Don't at me, dog lovers. Dogs are cool too, but everybody's got to pick a side, and mine's cat. Too bad for me though, I gotta play Team Dog on this one, and the challenge involves taking over the Shibuya shopping district from the cats, which means a whole lot of cat murder. I mean, they have gone on an absolute breeding spree over there. There's a whole lot of cats, and we've got an absolute pile of pussy to plow through, so we gotta power up to take it on. Okay, at this point we've got the Shibuya station territory taken over, which means we can start looking for a mate in this area. The first one I come across is less than ideal. No offense, but I'm going to keep a wide berth and try my luck on the next one. Oh, hello. Now she looks good. But alas, we are doomed to feel the sting of rejection once again. No worries though, we're going to hit the buffet line and come back later. A nice bloated belly might change her tune. So we go to the next area over and eat our fill until we become a boss. Now that we've defeated these wolves and
feasted upon their flesh,
we can go regale her with some tales of conquest and a nice full belly, and we can see if she thinks any more of us now. Oh yeah, the prime female is interested. Our hard work pays off. Now though, the game wants us to change generations, which for the uninitiated of us, that means getting it on. And to do that, we need a place to get it on, because a prime lady like this isn't just going to do it in the street. No sir, we got to find a bed. Now we could use Shibuya Station, which we've already taken over before, but we've already kind of cleared this area out. So I opt to go back to the place that we were, because there's tons of food there. We can go take that place over, get plenty of food because our hunger's starting to look a little suspect, and then we can have that territory and a nest, nice bed, and we can have some babies. I wanted to have some sexy getting it on music in here, but honestly I don't want to mess with YouTube, so you're just gonna have to imagine it, sorry. And there we are, a brand new litter of puppies ready to take on the world. It's time to say goodbye to mom and dad and let them enjoy their retirement while we take on their burden. Lucky for us, dad bagged a prime mate, which means a bigger litter and a more efficient army to take on the cats. Speaking of which, that's where we want to head next. We need to go to the cats territory in Shibuya shopping district. We're going to need to fight our way through the bewhiskered hordes. Is that a word, bewhiskered? I don't know, we're going to go with it. Yeah, okay, this is hard, okay? If you think you can do better, write your own script, man, I don't know. Anyway, let's just head that direction and eat as much as we can on the way to beef up. We've made it to the shopping district and the minimap is lit up like a freaking Christmas tree. You can already hear the cats going absolutely nuts on some rabbits around the corner, and the fighting between dog and cat begins almost immediately. And may I remind you, I love these little guys, but the game has forced my hand. I have no choice but to kill them all. I'll be honest, there's a lot of them, but they're dropping pretty fast. A hit or two is really all it takes to take them out at this point. My stats are pretty good from all the challenges I've completed, so mercifully I'm making quick work of the grim business. Sorry little guys, once I have you unlocked, I'll go on a Pomeranian revenge spree in your honor. Promise. I continue to methodically work my way through the shop district, eventually marking every location, and bam, cat unlocked. Now I will say the Pomeranian is one of two animals you have unlocked right off the bat, so I imagine the game takes it kinda easy on you. But like I said, unlocking the animals is a totally accessible challenge for anyone playing through casually. There are plenty of additional challenges to take on if you're a completionist sicko, but that's not really my style, so I'm happy with achieving this and playing other animals instead. From here, Shibuya is my playground. I can continue to do the challenges or just see how long I can survive. My fate was decided making my way back through the shop district when I noticed these two thoroughbreds strolling through my territory. I thought to myself, hey, I just took on 1,000 cats, how hard could 2 horses be? It turns out pretty hard as these two horses proceeded to hand me and my entire bloodline a thorough ass kicking. Well, that sucks, but it's a run-based game, and this is just how these things go. Now we have the cat unlocked, and we can work on unlocking whatever is after that by playing the cat and completing its challenges as well. So that was my successful Pomeranian run. Short and sweet, and I think it gives you a good idea of what the core of the game is. There's a lot more to discover, but I think it's time to move on to my overall thoughts about the game now that I've spent a bunch of time revisiting it. Let's start with the obvious, the setting, the premise. Playing as different animals in a post-apocalypse is immediately eye-catching. There's really nothing else like it out there even this many years after its release. It's such a singular vision, and I really love how much thought they've put into it. It's obviously extremely a video game. You get a score at the end and everything. However, there is just enough simulation in here that it really puts you in the mindset of an animal trying to survive. The little chicks running around, for example, don't deserve to be eaten, and I'd really rather not eat them. They're the slowest animal around and they can't fight back. It's basically fish in a barrel. But if I don't eat them, I'm not likely to survive. I won't get enough calories to get the best mate and have the biggest, strongest litter. My run will be that much more likely to fail. So to succeed, I must. It's a lot like watching a nature documentary. You know the lion has to eat, but you also feel bad for the newborn gazelle that can't keep up with the herd. The game puts you in the shoes of the lion or the gazelle, depending on what you play. As a carnivore, you gotta do what you can to survive. As an herbivore, the game is a lot less emotionally fraught. You're just going around eating tasty veggies and avoiding trouble. Am I putting too much thought into a silly video game? I don't know, maybe, but this is the strength of video games versus other mediums. It makes us an active participant in what our characters are doing and makes us think like them. So while, yeah, it's all just in the service of making numbers go up, I think Tokyo Jungle actually does something really special here, and I'd hate if that aspect got overlooked all in the service of, lol, look at that dog fighting a cow. I mean, that stuff is awesome too, don't get me wrong. I just wanted to make sure that that aspect got touched on. Alright, let's talk about the gameplay. Combat is simple but solid. There's definitely some skill ceiling in the combat, but you don't have a ton of options, so it's fairly straightforward. When it came out, it was sold here in the US for $15, so I can't fault it too much for that. It's a smaller game for a lower price. For that reason, it's good to keep expectations in check. For what was originally $15, the value here is really good. While it might get a bit repetitive at times, you've got a lot to do and unlock for such a budget title. Overall, I really love Tokyo Jungle for how weird and funny it is. Going back to it, I'm not surprised at how it's stuck in my memory all this time when other games I've played have faded to the background. Like I said, it doesn't do anything terribly innovative, but what it is doing is memorable. Especially now at a time when game development can look a lot more formulaic than I think a lot of us would like. Tokyo Jungle would stand out even today. Obviously it would need a fresh coat of paint, but I think if a 10-second clip of Tokyo Jungle popped up at a Summer Games Fest or wherever else, people would be talking about it. They'd be telling their friends, did you see that game where a Pomeranian is getting donkey kicked by a horse? It would be as cool now as it was then, and it's aged a bit for sure, and not just in the looks department. But it's still cool and funny and fun. And it's a game that I think deserves a remake one of these days, if for no other reason than to celebrate an amazing little creative miracle from those early days of downloadable titles. Anyway, that's it for me, folks. If you're a fan of Tokyo Jungle or learning about it for the first time, leave a comment. I'd really like to hear other people's thoughts on a game I think about a lot. Surely I'm not the only one out there that still remembers it. This was an interesting video to make and my first time making something like it. I'm not sure if it's any good, but I tried my best to make something informative and entertaining, and I really hope you liked it. Until next time, I'm Midnight Honker, and this has been my review of Tokyo Jungle.